views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Here we go again. Welcome everybody of the Doc Bob Lee from 107.5 WPLS, and welcome to Open BXRX. Another exciting, fantastic show lined up for you. Kick off your shoes and relax your feet because here we go. In fact, coming up on today's show, well, we'll sit down with a life mental health coach to learn about how she is helping others achieve the best version of themselves. And then we'll speak to an expert about what her organization has to offer entrepreneurs. After that, we'll hear from the founder of an organization that is fighting to save an important landmark, a very important landmark, and highlights its impact on the entire community. Then Bobby C steps into the room with the world of sports. We'll have that. We'll have the latest. And then finally, we'll check in with a renowned chef to see what he has cooking. So all this and more is headed your way because we are now wide open. Here we go. Welcome, everybody. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. I'm your host, and you're watching Open. It's a live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV. You can stay connected to us through social media at BronxNet TV. Our next guest is a life mental health coach, and she's with us today to give us a guide into her private practice. Watch out. It's going to be on holistic wellness and how it's saving lives and healing families, and that's important. Please welcome to the show, Sonya Davie. Sonya, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Sonya, tell us a little bit more about your practice. I know you've been doing it for some time now. Tell us about it. Yes. How did you get started and how did it all happen for you?
Well, I promote actually mental wellness, which combines two of my passions, which is mental health and health coaching. And so I help people to understand their mental health, more of the whys and from a total perspective in looking at all of their health. So I look at, the traditional things that mental health teaches us in school, but I also integrate that with their health as well, because there's so many health issues that we have that also contribute to our mental health that a lot of times people don't know. So I like to give them a total picture more so of what's going on with them.
Do you have a practice where people can come on location, or do you pay them a visit? You make house calls?
No, well, initially my office, I still have an office, but because of COVID, I'm doing a lot more of it virtual. But I still have an office now in the West Village, but I was in Midtown for a while. And so it was in-person visits. And then obviously when COVID happened, everything switched to virtual and the clients seem to still love it. And, I go in maybe a couple times a month now, but it's still more primarily virtual.
What inspired you to get involved in this aspect of being a life mental health and the coach business?
Well, okay, I'll give you all my titles. I am a licensed mental health counselor, so they psychotherapist for New York. And I'm also a health coach, certified health coach, and a certified life coach. And so again, I love motivating people, but I also wanted to go beyond just motivating, because life coaching is great to be able to do that. And I did that for a number of years in homeless shelters with programs. But I also wanted to go beyond that and really help people with issues and emotions that really they can't seem to either understand them and heal from them. And so again, merging the health is actually the direction that the mental health field is going in now anyway. It's not addressed as much in our communities, but in other communities, they are talking a lot about health. They're looking at just the total health of people and how diseases can affect mental health, how your eating habits can affect your mental health, your lack of movement, lack of exercise. All of those things are actually very important to mental health. And so I wanted to bring that more to our community, the information that I've been studying this particularly for more than 10 years. And I always look at where are the people that look like me that are teaching people like us that we have to look at mental health more than just 3 symptoms and a pill.
Did you coin the phrase Life is good when you feel good.
Yes, that's my hashtag. Life is good because it's true. When you feel good mentally and physically, because I'm also an exercise enthusiast. I'm a
Yeah.
dance fitness instructor as well. So when exercise is always part of my life.
Yeah, you
I'm
wear
sorry?
many hats. So
I
in
do.
reference
I wear
to health,
many hats.
feeling good.
Yeah, it does, but it all feels good. And even my workouts, I love them. I feel energized, and people that I know, exercise. And you can do something as simple as walking, but all of my clients, they know I'm going to always ask them about their routines. I'll
Yeah.
always, and I always have clients that tell me when they do some form of movement, it helps their anxiety, it helps their depression, it helps their emotions. And so I
Yeah.
want them to really understand the link between that. So
What can you do from your seat? A lot of people are sitting down these days. They're doing Zooms all day, sometimes 2-3 hours at a time. And they're doing a lot of office work. A lot of them are back in the office and they're in a seated position a lot. What can you do to motivate and stimulate and get some movement going on?
well, movement breaks are necessary. So getting up actually out of the chair, because they are actually classifying sitting, prolonged sitting as the new smoking. So so prolonged sitting is not really the answer. I know we have to do it for, the work that we do, but taking those breaks, getting up, moving around, getting up, doing some squats. If you can take, I always encourage people, take a 5-minute walk or 10-minute walk outside. I have clients that are, different positions, but they have been incorporating going outside for a few minutes. I have someone I know that's a CEO, and she has a standing desk.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, yeah, so some of her meetings she may sit down, but some of them she's standing up. So we've got to really make movement a priority and not just say, well, I sit all day. Well, then sometimes you're going to have, because you get to go to the bathroom. So we'll take a few minutes and do some movements while you're up.
Yeah, our studio raises up.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Yeah. That's good. What are some of the things that you do to keep motivated and stimulated and keep the physical therapy thing going on?
Well, I meet with my trainer twice a week at 5 a.m.
Uh-huh.
And then I go to the gym for some strength training. And then I'm also doing dance fitness exercises. I have whole routines that I do here at home.
But when you're training, what do you do?
We do, oh my God, my trainer does a lot of crazy stuff. Um, a lot of plyometrics. I love jumping. I love all of that. So a lot of strength training, again, with weights, because that's important for everyone, particularly when you become a person of a certain age. So strength training is really important. And then, like I said, the dance fitness is really a hit program. So it's a really intense workout. It's not just moving around and twisting. It includes a lot of intense workout. So
Not just
those who
two-step. It's
hiking,
not just a regular two-step.
no, no, it's not your grandmother's two-step.
Oh, wait, I still see a lot of people on the dance floor just doing the two-step, just trying to be real cool.
Listen, I'd rather you do that than do nothing at all.
There you go.
So that still matters because everyone's fitness level is different. So,
Right.
but and I always tell people find what they love. So it's easier for me with clients because I tell them to find what they love, and it makes
When you,
it easier to stick to it.
yeah, when you're on the dance floor, what kind of movements do you do?
Oh, all kind, just all kind. I mean, from line dancing to, you know,
Yeah.
what's that? Dance hall music. I love that. Soca. I love that. Love that. Yeah. So all the things. I was at a party last week and we were all jumping. So I love it. Love it.
Yeah. Do you keep in step or sometimes you're out of step?
No, I keep in step. Are you kidding me? I keep in step. I'm from Brooklyn.
You're
Yeah,
dancing to
Brooklyn.
the beat. That's a beautiful thing. Do
Yes,
you have anything coming
yes.
up that we can take a look at?
Well, one of the things I'd love people to follow me is because I am also launching an emotional eating program, which I'm very
Oh,
excited about because that has become a major issue for people that I've
yeah.
talked to for years, emotional eating. And so I get to merge all of my passions, which is, not necessarily therapy, but talking about the issues and as well as the mental health nutrition that I learned. All of these things we get to merge together to help people to break the cycle of emotional eating.
Yeah. All right. So when someone gets involved in emotional eating, something happened in their life that maybe was traumatizing, something,
Yes.
maybe a relationship or something like that. Explain that. Talk about that a little bit.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because a lot of people don't know enough about trauma and the impact, more importantly, of trauma. And so they can have issues of either eating too much, which of course then leads to all kind of other health issues, or there's also people that don't eat enough. So I have people that do both. Either they are struggling because they're eating foods that activate cravings that they can't seem to shut off, and telling people to just do it is just not going to work because
Yeah.
our foods have all kinds of ingredients in there on purpose to hijack our palates. So people
Ah,
really need patience, and they need to also understand the emotions that are attached to that behavior, as well as the people that don't eat, because I have clients who don't eat and that's still a problem because they have health issues and they need to eat, so it's a big conversation, but I'm excited to deliver the program.
or you want to become a vegan, but you don't know how to supplement. Maybe
Absolutely.
we're eating as far as the meats. When you eliminated the meats and proteins and all, you don't know how to supplement. So
Absolutely.
you're suffering from malnutrition.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned that because, for example, for some people that become vegan, and they do take that animal source out, if they're low like in vitamin D, and vitamin D is extremely important for our mental health. So if they're low in vitamin D because they're not necessarily supplementing the way they should, then that can be problematic and they get into depression. And then if you get with someone who doesn't give you a wide approach, they're like, oh, well, you're depressed, let's just put you on medication. No, you're depressed because we need to look at your diet and all these other things that's going on before we even take that route.
Where can we go to get more information? They're going to wrap me up real hard.
Okay, well, my website is sonyadavie.com. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Sonya Davie also.
Sonya Davie, thank you so much. Thanks for being a part of the
Thank you
show.
for having me.
All right. LMHC. And you have some other letters behind that. Health and Life
Yes.
Coach. Thank you so much. What is it?
Certified Mental Health Integrative Medicine Provider. It's long.
There you go. Sonya, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll take a break. We've got more open next. Welcome back, everybody. I'm the Doc Bob Lee from 107.5 WPLS, and we're wide open. Thanks for joining us. Our next guest is an entrepreneur who's helping other entrepreneurs get their start in the business space through an organization called the Experts Tribe. Please welcome to the show, Lorene Cowan. Lorene, welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lee. I appreciate just being here with you today. Thank you.
Now, the Experts Tribe, tell us about it. Where did it come from? How did you get the idea to start it or get involved? Tell us a little bit about it.
So honestly, I think so many people in our lives, we know tons of people that have either lost a loved one, but we also know people that have lost their jobs and have really seen some extremely hard times. So during the pandemic, I witnessed so many close friends and family lose their jobs, and they were just trying to figure out, well, what's next? And they may have had savings and some may not have had savings. And they're just trying to figure out, how do I reboot? How do I start over again? I've been in a job for the last 10 years, 5 years, whatever the case may be. And it was a struggle. And so this idea came to my head. I'm like, I know so many talented, smart experts in various areas of business, whether it be through ads, whether it be through marketing, branding, et cetera, that can actually help an entrepreneur that's starting off, that has the skill sets to actually create an amazing business, actually idea and concept to launch. So it literally happened during the heart of the pandemic, just talking to people and just really doing surveys and putting things out there to the entrepreneurs that I know and also to the folks that I knew that got let off. And then actually asked them to reach out to their network of influence. And here we are.
So how did you come up with the name?
I think it says it all. You know, I wanted experts to know that there was a tribe just for them. You may not have all the answers. It may not all, you know, it's not in front of you, you're not clear as to the direction of where you should go in your business or in your concept. Your concept might not even be clear, but there are people just like you that are equipped to help you. And there are people that are on the same, they're on the same even playing field as you, that are experts that want to help you grow, as well as you don't even realize sometimes that you have expertise that can help someone else in the community grow.
Yes. And what are some services that you provide through the experts tribe?
Great question. So there's a couple of things. So one, every week there's going to be uploaded master courses for people to take. It's just it's a one-shot fit all. It's not a one-shot fit all, I should say that. What happens is, you know, you're going to get a video this week about branding. You're going to get a video this week about marketing, or whatever the case may be. And whatever we hear, the community is saying, hey, we need some more help with, we need additional help with, we're going to have guest speakers come in monthly to talk to them, and they can do a Q&A session to ask the questions that are literally probing them while they're going through the process of starting their business. Another thing that we're going to do, we're going to actually have pitch competitions. I think you remember that, you know, I have the NSCS, the National Student Entrepreneur Summit, and we have this pitch competition, and it's so amazing and helpful because people are able to dissect your business in areas that you're not familiar with, right? You're like, I didn't realize that that was important. Yes, it is. It's very important, right? Some people think that if they just throw something up on social media, yeah, they're going to just gain 10,000 clients. It doesn't work like that. So this provides them the opportunity for someone to kind of peer into what they're working on and help them perfect it. So that's another benefit. Another thing we're going to do is there are different areas of interest. Let's say, for example, cannabis. Cannabis is something that, especially in our community, you kind of think, a lot of people think they should shy away from it just because of the past and so many people getting incarcerated, but it's a great means of a mode for entrepreneurs right now, right? It's so many areas. You don't have to be a grower to make money. So we're going to have panel discussions such as that, where people on a monthly basis can hear about different fields that they can join and participate in and create wealth.
As far as investments.
But also when doing that, you also need to have some knowledge about it, right? You need to have a baseline of what this business actually entails. What does it actually mean? What do you need to put up? You know, I know a few people that are growers, and there's people that have, they actually have shops, you know, not in New York, but in other parts of the country, and they're thriving and they're doing extremely well. And so I think those types of concepts and ideas can be extremely helpful. But more than all of that, forget all of that. My purpose is to create synergy. When you're a solopreneur, you think it's just you, and maybe you have a couple of people that are following you, a couple hundred people that are following you, and maybe you have a couple of customers, and you're like, I want to hold this all to myself. No, it's the numbers game. So if I have 500 people and you have 500 people and our neighbors have 500 people, and now we share audiences because our businesses are similar, they can connect, but they're not the same. So I'm not taking away from you, but now my audience can get a taste of what your counterpart's working on. It's a win. And a way that we talk to our the people that we work with, our tribe, we want them to create affiliate programs. And I know you may not be, you may not know, the audience out here may not know exactly what that means. But that means you have a service, and if someone else markets your service, then in return, you get a part of the profit. So for example, on my site, I believe everyone's an equal partner with me. So if you become an affiliate of mine, you get 50%, right? So if you bring someone on as a member, you get 50%. I believe in that because that's how your numbers grow, right? If you're just focused on you and the people you know and your mom and your dad and your cousin, that's as far as you're gonna go. Think outside, and it costs a lot of money to create ads and marketing. I'm at the stage where I can do that, but there are other people that they're just like, well, I don't know. I only know 5 people. I only know 10 people. No, you have a marketable skill that your counterpart needs for their audience. Connect the dots. So my big push is connecting the dots. Let's create partnerships. Let's create synergy. Let's create a movement that allows us all to succeed. And no one gets hurt, everyone just grows, and hopefully businesses can survive past the pandemic.
Yeah, I like it. I like everything that you're talking about. But Lorene, you didn't just start this. There's some background. Mom got involved and she put you through school. She worked herself to the bone. Talk about it. 'Cause a lot of people think that you just jump into something and it just happens for you right away, but there's a lot of groundwork.
Well, I want to tell you, thank you
CV.
so much for even bringing that up, because I think my foundation plays a huge role in even my mindset. Like, as you can know, I'm a big proponent of entrepreneurship. I think it's everything. I think even if you have your 9 to 5, and I'm going to answer your question, even if you have your 9 to 5, have something else. Take a passion project. Take something that you've learned at your job and create something more. So for me, my mom was an immigrant, and my dad from Jamaica. They came up here, they put me through private school. They worked their fingers to the bone to make sure that that I got the best education that they can afford. I never saw my parents go on vacation, not once in my life. And not once. I never saw my mom go on vacation or my dad. They worked and they provided and they loved. You know, I was very loved. And, you know, that was their focus. They said, you're going to be it. Like, we're living through you. We're doing this for you. So I think I tell you this funny story. I was in school one day, and my parents get a call, and they're told to come down to the school, and someone tells them like, hey, you know, she's not suspended or anything like that, but, you know, we definitely need to work on this. She has a business for the last few years at school. You know, your kids, she's not even a teenager. What is she doing here? She's an operation. We just found out about it today, and we need to just shut this down. And my parents just, can't believe you did this. Like, why would you do that? Oh my God, I can't. And when I got outside, I just felt so bad, and I felt closed in. I was like, oh my God, my parents, they've always supported me. What's going on? So we got in that car, and they high-fived me. They said, you go, girl. You did that. I am so proud of you. Let's market to the family. Let's market to friends. So it was just, I was like, oh, okay. So this wasn't a bad thing. It's like, well, maybe we should, you know, they're like, maybe you shouldn't have started an operation, you know, at school, but, you know, we get that.
But that's how you back your children. That's how you back family.
That's
family
how you
working
back
together. Yeah.
And so the Experts Tribe, that's my family now, right? You know,
Yeah.
I want to back you, and I want you to back me. And so that's the start. It was that seed that was planted in me through them that allowed me to dream big. I have failed at things, I've succeeded at things, but I never stopped pushing towards greatness, right? Because I don't think it's out of my reach. I don't think it's out of anyone's reach. And when those success happens, you're like, man, it wouldn't have happened if I gave up on myself. And it wouldn't have happened if they gave up on me a long time ago and said, you just can't do it. So instilling in people like, hey, you can do this. Like, you got this. You're scared, you're nervous. Where can we work on? And you know, again, when you have these pitch competitions, when you have other experts come on board and actually have one-on-one or group discussions, people actually get to dissect what they're working on and push towards more, right? And in real, I've slowed myself down. I'm unsure about this, but I think I got this. So yeah, that's my start. I'm here. And I think I told you, I actually started another business. So this is actually-
Look at you.
Yeah, so I think I told you, this didn't just start this during the pandemic. I had another business, and it was more of a resource component. But when COVID happened, I said, people need more than just resources and where to go. People need a place where they can actually do, we're here to help them do. So I had a business when I was in Harvard. When I finished, I was working on it. And then I decided I wanted to make it bigger because of the pandemic, and I did. And I'm excited. And today is the launch.
Beautiful.
So
I need two things from you. I need two things from you. They're gonna wrap me up briefly. I got 30 seconds. How did you? What advice would you give to youngsters starting their business? But you got to give it to me quick. And then where can we go to get more information on you, because you're doing some great things?
My advice is come up with an idea and concept, right? Figure out if there's a market for it, and there's easy ways to do it. We can have another discussion another day, because I know I have to go, but there's Facebook. You can go into different groups, you can pose questions and find out if there's a need for the thing that you're interested in pursuing, right? Once you have that business, find a way to niche it down even further. And then test it out on your market, right? Test it out with your friends and family. But I don't want you to just do friends and family, because they're just like, yeah, great job. I want you to go a little bit further, dig a little bit more, and go to the other entities. Again, Facebook group is a great way to do it. It's just an easy thing for me to say right now, where you can find out, throw it out there, and people will provide free services for what you're looking for, what you want to pursue, and let people they'll let you know. Your tribe, whoever's around you, is going to let you know if you're on the right path. And if you want to find out more information about me, you go to theexpertstribe.com and you can email me at info@theexpertstribe.com.
There you go. Lorene Cowan, founder, The Experts Tribe. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. It was awesome being here today with you guys.
All right, we'll take a break. I've got more open coming. We'll take a break. I've got more open coming up next. We'll take a break. I've got more open coming up next. Welcome back, everybody, of the Doc Bob Lee for 107.5 WBLS. You are watching Open. Yeah. And our next guests are the founder of the African Graves Matter and the chair of the National Action Network Education Committee. They're here today with us to highlight their fight to save a sacred African burial ground in Flatbush, Brooklyn, that is being built over by affordable housing complexes. So please welcome to the show, Harriet Hines and Dr. Jackie Cody. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Bob Lee.
You guys have been fighting for a while now. How did you guys meet up and come together and decide that this is what we're going to do?
Well, it's been a long journey, but relatively short in the grander scheme of things. During the summer of April 2021, I, at the time, was a candidate for city council in District 40 in Brooklyn, which is the same district that this burial ground is located in. It was brought to my attention by another candidate for a political position at the time. His name is Robert Daley. He was running for Brooklyn Borough President. And he brought to my attention that this burial ground actually existed in my backyard. Originally, there was a group of two women who were of non-African descent who were fighting to not have affordable housing, but in actuality to have an urban farm. When he brought it to my attention, of course, being a person of African ancestry, I said immediately, no urban farm on top of the bones of my enslaved ancestors.
Yeah.
So then immediately I brought Reverend Gregory Seal Livingston to the fight, who's a Chicago reverend and activist, civil rights activist, and had him join with me in the fight to demonstrate on a weekly basis in front of the burial ground. Now, as we formulated African Graves Matter, then we started to notice the different climate, the tensions that started to swell in the neighborhood. There was an interview that I had did on WBAI where they interviewed me along with other community residents. And there was one man by the name of Matt Denaro from the Flatbush Workers United who had, in the interview, he had made an extremely racist comment. He said that the decomposing bones of the enslaved in the soil should be used to fertilize the crops that's going to be grown, and their spirits should be used to nourish the community. Well, immediately after that, I brought it to the attention of everyone in my group, and then we began to protest in light of the racist comments that were made. Yeah. We took the streets of Flatbush because, again, where the burial ground is located is on Church and Bedford Avenue, and only right up the block, 1 block away, is the cemetery where the slave masters' remains are held. In that cemetery, it is well kept. It's a tourist site, and it houses the remains of people like the Vanderbilts, the Livingstons, the Lefferts, the Nostrans, the Cortelyus, all the people that our street names are named after, who came here to colonize in New York and in the United States. They're housed there at that cemetery. Well, when you look only a block away, you see the site of the burial ground, which is ill-kept, tall weeds growing, rats running out of the cemetery, greasy sidewalks where they let vendors come in with grease pits of oil and just throw them on the sidewalk. And we immediately said to ourselves that we want our spot to be preserved as a memorial to educate the community and educate our future generations that, you know, the enslaved are here in the soil. Now, bear in mind that where the burial ground is now is only a small plot of land that's vacant. And that's only because for over 100 years, over a century, a Jewish school sat there on the lot. Now, prior to this Jewish school being there, the historians knew, as well as the politicians knew, that this was a burial ground. Now, the burial ground is not only in that one plot of land. All the street is covered. Underneath the street, there's bones under the streets. There's bones under the post office. There's bones under Erasmus High School. There's bones going all the way back to Nostrand Avenue and even the surrounding buildings. So again, most of the burial ground is covered, but this small portion of land only is vacant because they demolished the Jewish school in 2015.
Yeah. And how did you meet up with Dr. Jackie Cody?
Oh, Dr. Jackie Cody, again, that's my girl. You know, she's been in the fight for civil rights for a long time. And you know,
Jackie,
with
your perspective.
We happen to connect. I think our lives were running parallel, but we actually connected when we both were members of the Community Education Council for District 22. And from that meeting, that was it. It was on. There's a lot of other
on the same lines.
Yes, there's a lot of other injustices that we are connected on fighting against and fighting for justice overall.
So, but we got this going on. So, what are the solutions? What do people do, or what are you guys trying to do to help the situation along?
Well, as we pay honor to this sacred space, hallowed area, we want to comprehend, instill, and appreciate the lives, history, and respect for the accomplishments and grave sacrifices made by Black African Americans in the United States and around the world. This is a national issue. We want to work with community and elected leaders with devising plans on how to memorialize the sacred African burial ground. A little tidbit, Dr. Bob Lee, I know you remember my dear aunt, Ollie McLean, and how she fought hard for the African burial ground in downtown Manhattan. And you know, Reverend Sharpton has fought against Black injustice for decades nationwide. I agree with Borough President Adams' decision that the site should stand as a memorial, and I support African Graves Matter for leading the fight, while other community groups wanted an urban farm, as Sister Hines just said, and affordable housing built on top of enslaved Africans and indigenous people. No way. So the burial ground can serve as an asset to society, as it can help to educate future generations, and there shall be no other development on this site. So we've been meeting with the mayor's office in regards to cleanup and to set forth, and we have a meeting tonight, as a matter of fact, to lay down some written plans to submit to the mayor's office on what we want to see happen, the educational plans with this sacred space.
Let me know when that cleanup happens so we can come down maybe with the cameras or the WBLS microphone and grasp hold of some of that, of what you guys are doing, because I think this is great. These are things that need to be preserved. So thank you for all the work that you guys are doing and creating the awareness that we do have a situation like this in the first place. What's next for the African Graves Matter?
Okay, well, African Graves Matter has formulated itself as a national movement. We've teamed up with the No Fear Coalition, or the BACC conference, and we're involved with the recent decision with Bethesda, Maryland, where they sued the city of Maryland to not build over their grave sites, and they actually won on all counts. And
so
this
it's all over the country.
It's all over the country. These grave sites are emerging all over the country. And so, like, we not only have a concern for, you know, where we're at locally, we have a concern for all of the grave sites, you know, throughout the country.
Where can people go for more information? Because we need a whole hour to get deeply involved in what we're talking about right now. But do you have this on the website somewhere?
Yes, www.africangravesmatter.com. And I would like to say something. There's a quote that I've been saying from the beginning of April or May when we've demonstrated out in the streets. And it comes from Assemblywoman Rodney Spichot. She's the Assemblywoman for over the area there where the gravesite is. She said, "It is the people's right to preserve their history and culture and to share it with the world." Now, when she made that statement, she made it in regards to her creation of Little Haiti. And then she also supports Little Guyana. So my outcry to her is, could she please support us with Little Africa there on the corner? And, you know, come out and show that she also wants a memorial, because again, I don't care if you're Haitian, you're Trinidadian, you're Jamaican, wherever you are, you all of African ancestry. We were just dropped off in different ports throughout the world, but we're all from African ancestry. So I would definitely appreciate her support, as well as the U.S. Congresswoman Yvette Clarke's support. They all preside over the area.
Yeah, I love them. The Assemblywoman and Yvette Clarke, I love them. You know, I love the mother too, Yvette Clarke's mother. Yeah. Una Clarke.
Yeah.
When you see them, give them a hug for me and tell them Dr. Bob Lee said hello. Harriet Hines, founder African Graves Matter, and Dr. Jackie Cody, chair National Action Network Education Committee. We love you guys and thank you for all that you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bobby C's up next, and well, he has all the information in the world of sports. Check him out. Coming up on Open.
Last time out on BronxNet, we featured legendary author Robert Daley. Here's part 2 of that interview.
When you talk about the cruel sport, I mean, as we mentioned, 165 photos in that book. And, you know, they were captured with anywhere from the 35 millimeters to 800 millimeters. You had these 3 Nikons, different lenses that you were using. And one of the articles that I read about you talking about that particular book, you said that you began to imagine converting your feelings about motor racing into images. What a wonderful remark.
Into pictures. Yeah. Could I make pictures that conveyed to the reader what I felt? So I tried. And it was the idea of winding up with a couple of hundred photos. What am I going to do with them? Well, maybe I can make a book and I'll call it The Cruel Sport. Well, looking back, I don't see any work. I just see the fun of laying all those photos out on the floor and deciding where they would go, how they would go, and then what I would say about them. I had to have captions. Well, captions are a great chance to write essays that are 6 or 8 lines long, which is fun to do. You don't even think about essays in that sense. But what can you say about the photo that's as interesting as the photo is? That is, if it's a good photo. Well,
some of those great photographs are actually on the wall behind you there in your den. And one of those central figures is located, I don't know if the camera will get it there in the corner there, but one of the central figures of the cruel sport is Phil Hill, the only American-born F1 champion. And what an incredible central character to that story. And I know he was kind of one of the people that you felt really helped you capture those early years of Formula One.
To get that close to somebody who lays his life on the line 4 or 5 times a week, what is he thinking? What is he doing? And Phil talked about it all the time. One of the things he said to me one day, I asked him, why did he drive a road car? It was a 203 Peugeot. Why, you know, people expect to see you in something racy. And his answer was, if I get out of this alive, I don't want to have blown all my money on fancy cars. Now, wow, anybody who talks that way, and he talked that way all the time, at least to me. And I often said, if anything ever happened to Phil, I could never go near a car race again. Phil died in bed at 83.
I was going to say, he ended up living a long life and, of course, having such an illustrious career himself. And he actually, you know, ends up driving the stunt car for the film, which the book is the basis of, and that's Grand Prix. I love having all these little things here on the set with me in the mornings, but the book, of course, the basis for this great film. You have Grand Prix, and then, of course, this forgotten F1 film. I actually have an advertisement for it here. It's part of my collection, and that's Day of the Champion, what would have been starring Steve McQueen. And from what I gather, Steve wasn't very happy with you that Grand Prix was made instead of Day of the Champion.
I got a call from Frankenheimer in California. He was going to make a car racing picture, and would I come out to California? He couldn't make it without me, etc. He really laid it on. So I went out to California and we talked about it. And I called up my agent and I said, look, he wants me, etc. He's going to pay so much. What do you think? And the agent says, well, there's something we haven't been telling you yet. Steve McQueen is after you too. So I never talked to McQueen or his people. I just ignored that possibility. Turns out that something from them, a contract or something, was in my hotel room in Malibu at that time. Anyway, I said, well, never mind McQueen. Frankenheimer is my guy. He wants to do exactly the film I want to do. Now, in fact, he didn't, but I thought he did. And then I remember going to the Grand Prix de Monaco the following May, and McQueen was there, and I was told he was looking for me, and he was mad. So I spent my time ducking Steve McQueen. I've never met him to this day.
That's just such a great story. And we talk about all of these legends, Bob. I think I would be remiss if I didn't mention your family name and the legend of your father, really. I mean, your father ends up winning, Arthur Daley wins a Pulitzer Prize, investigative reporting, this amazing career at the New York Times, the only job that he ever had. That column, Sporting of the Times, in 115 years, in the first 115 years of the Times, there were only 2 sports columnists, and your father was one of them. He spent 47 years at the paper, and from what I gather, it's estimated that he wrote over 20 million words in his career. Can you speak about your dad and what he meant to you?
My father would sit at the end of the dining room table with his biting on the fingernail of his thumb. And we all realized he wasn't with us at all. He was writing tomorrow's column. When he won the prize, he got a telegram from Red Smith saying, congratulations. From now on, only 1 column a day. In those days, the columnists, Red Smith also, they wrote every single day. And if you've ever tried to write a sports column, at the end of about 3, you are written out, and they had 4 more to go that week, with 7 more the following week, etc. Anyway, my father only gave me tips one time. I remember him telling me that in the first paragraph, you have to put who, what, why, when, and where. And then we never talked about it again. And somehow I knew how to do this. And the fact that I was able to do all that I did, my father never lifted a finger to help me, but he opened all the doors without even trying. So I had luck over everybody else who might have been trying what I was trying.
And like I said earlier in the interview, Bob, I mean, just this idea of the family being so linked to the Bronx, because your dad also attended Fordham Prep and Fordham College at that time, and so did you and your brother. I mean, just a remarkable legacy at Fordham.
Yeah, there was no chance we'd ever go anywhere else. I was a fairly hot swimmer as a boy, and was getting asked by colleges, was I interested, et cetera. Yale was one of them. And I never had a chance to go anywhere else. I mean, my parents never even considered it. I was going to Fordham, which I did. And especially Fordham Prep, it was a priceless experience looking back. Fordham College less so. At the time, I criticize Fordham these days. At the time, they never even mentioned the arts of any kind. But instead of that, we had something like 6 or 8 hours a week of Thomistic philosophy, which is stupid. It's one philosophy among so many, and the Catholic Church at Fordham took it as Catholic philosophy, and you didn't even have the right to read any other. Anyway, my point is that the Fordham of my day was wrongly focused, I think. How it is today, I don't know. One of the teachers that they hired just before I graduated was a former Southern Methodist quarterback named Robert Brown, and he was a Protestant convert to Catholicism. Anyway, that made him okay to hire by Fordham. But he came in and started teaching the boys, me included, about Hemingway and Fitzgerald and others. And I was so grateful to him in later years, because that was never going to happen in the first several years of my Fordham education. I hope it happens widely now. But what a breath of fresh air, this foreigner, so to speak, somebody from Dallas, a Protestant, born a Protestant, and a former football player as well. Perfect. That's a good teacher for kids.
In closing this interview, I wanted to throw out one more quote. This, of course, comes from the legendary Carroll Shelby in Ford versus Ferrari. There's a point at 7,000 RPM where everything fades, the machine becomes weightless, just disappears, and all that is left is a body moving through space and time. 7,000 RPM, that's where you meet it. You feel it coming, it creeps up on you, close in your ear, asks you a question, the only question that matters. Who are you? So in closing this interview, Bob, who is Robert Daley?
Wow. I don't know. I've thought I've revealed myself as much as I can in the last few minutes. I met Shelby, I had known him for a long time, but I met him at a dinner not long ago, many years after. And somebody brought up The Cruel Sport, and Shelby said, that was our Bible. And I was so pleased, so pleased.
Well, Bob, I really appreciate you taking the time. It's been an honor. I definitely have an answer to that question. And to me, you are the most interesting man in the world. I appreciate you taking time with us this morning.
Thanks, Bobby.
Welcome back, everybody. Here we go. Our next guest is an award-winning TV host, a celebrity chef, and a best-selling cookbook author. He's with us today to talk about his newest season of his cooking show. He's cooking up a storm, I'm telling you, and to share some recipe tips, too, as we step into the holiday season. So please welcome to the show, Chef Jernard Wells.
Hello, hello. What's good, Dr. Bob?
Yeah. I heard you've been cooking up a storm, man, especially with this new show. Talk about it. Tell us about it.
Yeah, man, some of everything. New Soul Kitchen, going into season 3, I wanted to really do a lot of things different as far as to creating. All the past seasons I had co-hosts, so this will be the first season with me by myself. So I'm really looking forward to this season because I did a lot of cool things, even from man, food-wise, charbroiled oysters, barbecue shrimp and grits. Yeah, we're gonna be doing oxtails instead of your traditional oxtail. We're gonna do an oxtail pasta. Yeah, so we're gonna have some fun.
I'm salivating already. I don't know why you're doing this to me so early in the interview. I can't get any words out now. So you're cooking up a storm. You're cooking with gas, plus.
Yeah, exactly. Gas plus cooking with diesel.
That's right. So where does it go from here? That's just a few of the recipes that you're talking about, because I know Sonya tells me that you're really hooking things up and you're going at it.
Yes. You know, one of the cool things is food has always been in my life. Like most people, as we said, we got some people that gotta eat to live, and then you got some people that live to eat. And you know, I'm one of those people on both sides of the spectrum. And I started out cooking at a young age when I was 10 years old. Yeah, learning from my father, and over the course of the years of growing into it and growing into the business, because my dad was a chef. It led me to launching my first brick and mortar restaurants, writing cookbooks, and then ultimately, almost 13 years ago, landing my first opportunity in the entertainment industry, where I started out with Food Network. But of course, TV One at the time was always a love, because during that time is when I would see G. Garvin on there cooking. And you know, it's something about when you see people that look like you and talk like you doing something that you admire, that you aspire to do in life, it's like a certain sense of motivation that pushes you along. And hey, here we go now.
Here we
I'm
go.
on TV1 Sister Network, Cleo TV, whipping it up and cooking on a regular basis.
Yeah, and I know you started out with the little bit of recipes here and there just to get things cooking. Now everybody's hooked up. They want to know exactly what you're going to do next. Now, you worked with a lot of celebrities, right? They call upon you, and a lot of organizations, a lot of companies talk about
Correct. Yeah, you know, man, I started out years ago traveling with Tyler Perry when he was doing his plays, Medea's Big Happy Family. From there, Brandon Ingram. I did shows with Steve Harvey. Rashawn McDonald actually is a mentor of mine who was Steve Harvey's manager at one point in time. Kathy Hughes, the founder of TV1, is a mentor and been mentoring me for several years, cooked for them. You know, it has taken me all around the country. I've even had the opportunity of cooking for the premier First Lady of Bermuda. You know, the list and accolades go on and on. But one of the things that I maintain to love is the love of creating great cuisine and seeing the looks and the emotions on people's face when they taste the food that I cook. And
I'm not even the food. You're looking at the look on my face right now. But I can imagine, I can feel the bursts of flavors and stuff in my mouth already.
Yeah, I know, right? Look, and that's the thing, you know, because my culinary background, of course, being a Southern chef, and it's not hidden in my accent anywhere, but being a Southern chef, that's always been my foundation, because that's what I grew up in. But I made it my business when I went to culinary arts school, study French Cajun cuisine, and then I took time and traveled around the world and worked for chefs for free, just so they could teach me their styles from Filipino, Malaysian, Caribbean, Ethiopian cuisine, all these different styles where I would become a melting pot. So when you're eating from me, where I'm from doesn't determine the skill set and the quality and style of food that I create.
There you go. And your family had a big role, of course, in what you're doing today. You said your father was a chef.
Yep. My father was a chef and my mother was a pastry chef, became a pastry chef after retiring as a nurse for the state of Mississippi, where I grew up at. Yeah. And during that time as a child, you know, I didn't even realize when they would bring me in the kitchen with them, you know, to me, I was just having fun in the kitchen, cooking with my parents and spending time. But unbeknownst to me, they was instilling a quality that would one day become my career. You know, if anybody asked me what I was going to be when I grew up, I always tell them I was going to be an attorney.
See, and you probably cook in that area too. Hey, are you doing the All-Star break?
No, I'm not doing an All-Star break. I actually got plans to be in Miami, Florida that week, because normally during the same time that the All-Star break is going on is normally the weekend of the South Beach Food and Wine Festival. And that's normally where I find myself at one of the largest food and wine festivals in the United States. And they're kicking it back off this upcoming year. So I'm truly looking forward to that.
Yeah. Wow. So where can we see your cooking show? Where do we go to watch your cooking show?
Cleo TV. Cleo TV is available on all your cable networks and streaming services, as well as you can always go to mycleo.tv to catch out my show, New Soul Kitchen. The season premiere actually was Wednesday the 27th, and it comes on every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Every weekend, creating something spectacular, something new.
We're tuning in. We're checking it out.
Definitely.
What's good for the holidays? What are people calling you for the holidays? What's cooking up?
You know, every year I always do. I always do select turkeys that I create for several esteemed people throughout the city and abroad. But every year I create a different flavor. This year I'm going to do a brown sugar and rosemary smoked smoked turkey, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna marinate the turkey in Uncle Nearest whiskey, brown sugar, rosemary, thyme. That's what we're gonna brine it in before removing it and injecting it with Creole spices, rubbing it down nice right up under the skin. I'm gonna stuff it with rosemary, basil, some nice butter to make sure it caramelizes over the top. And then we're gonna smoke that bad boy in a big green egg, low and slow.
What? No, we're coming over to your house for Thanksgiving.
The more the merrier.
Wait a minute. It seems like you should sell that recipe for Thanksgiving, because people cook turkey for Thanksgiving and Christmas, you know.
Yeah, that's true. And I think this year for Christmas, I'm gonna do some duck. I've really been craving a nice good marmalade duck. So I'm gonna take some of the marmalade and orange jelly, rub it over the duck real nice and good, and then I'm gonna actually the duck, I'm gonna roast it because I really love the crispiness from the skin of a nice good roasted duck.
Man, you're gonna make me want to go look in my refrigerator to see what I can find.
And look, we're just talking about the protein. I decided to test out my green thumb this year and grow a garden. So thus far, man, I got bunches of collard greens. I got kale. I got cabbage. I got red head lettuce growing, rosemary, thyme, basil, even some nice, beautiful bell peppers that's starting to blossom in my collard greens. I'm waiting until, as they say, what my older mentors would tell me is that you got to let the dew fall on the leaves of the collard greens before you pick them, and that's what makes it sweeter.
Talk about it. There you go. Hot dog. Wait a minute. And then you know how to prepare it where you get all the sand out of it, right? Because you don't know gritty.
Oh, exactly. Look, no, we ain't playing that around here. But my mom coming over for dinner, I never hear the end of it.
Hey, give us your website, man. This has been really, really fun, man.
My website is hautcuisine.store, HAUTECUISNE.store. I carry a complete line of sauces and seasonings that I make that's available nationwide. Definitely help anybody be the MVP of their kitchen, as well as follow me on social media at Chef Jernard. I like keeping everything simple. CHEFJERNARD. I don't care what platform you go to. That's what I'm on the ass.
Oh, man. Jernard, well. Chef and host of New Soul Kitchen. Woo. Can't wait to taste your food, and we're going to order some of your some stuff so I can be a champion in my kitchen.
Yes, indeed. I'm gonna make sure I hook you up, doctor. And look, and then you might just when you order some stuff from you get a big box at the door, open it up, and it's me busting out with some pots and pans. Don't be alarmed.
That sounds real cool. Okay. Hey, we'll get together and break some bread real soon, all right?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you. All right. It's about that time to go. Wow. Time flies when you're having fun. That's been a whole lot of fun. Thank you. Always remember this: what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice and let your choice control the chooser. Had a great time. Hope you did too. I'll see you over 107.5 WBLS. For all of us here at BronxNet, have a great and enjoyable day, and we'll catch you another day, another way. Love you all. Peace.